Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday. How are we all doing? I hope we are well on this lovely Saturday evening. Imagine we're already nearly in December. Monday's the 1st of December. It's hard to believe when you really look at it now. Today's the 29th, tomorrow's the 30th, and then it's the 4th. Unbelievable when you really think of it. It's less than, about 30, maybe a bit more than 30 days, yeah. Mad. Hello, Sean. You got notifications, I see. Sorry, there's always usually 100 million things to sort out. The fuck is this? Ooh, my God. Yeah. Not much. How are you, Sean? Sorry, I was tricking around a few things though. Not much at all. All quiet, thankfully. There would have been a lot of what was I going to say? There would have been a lot of crack if I went to the thing. I don't know if you were here at the time I was there. I might have said it last time. I can't remember. But I was invited to the Temporary Book Festival, which is tomorrow. Obviously, I'm not in Finland at the moment, so I'm not going. What I'm trying to say. But I was invited to go to it. Obviously, I'm not going to go to it because I wouldn't be here at the moment, be in Finland if I was going to it. So there would have been loads of crack if I did go to it. Let's put that way. But yeah, so that would have been interesting. I probably should have went to it, but sure. Look at you. I might as well stay there at that stage. I might as well not go home at that stage. Hello, Neve. I think that's how you say hello, Neve. I think that's, it's Neve, yeah. How are we doing? Hope we're well. Hope we're having a good Saturday. But yeah, there would have been loads of crack if I went to that, Sean, because obviously Sana is at that tomorrow. Along with a few, like it's a book fair. There's other people there with books and stuff. The former Finnish president's there too and all that. A lot of people are there actually for the book fair tomorrow. But you know, at that stage, Sean, I'm sure you would agree, I might as well fucking stay there. I don't know, the only reason why I didn't go, because it would have just been far too much out, not to mention it's fucking freezing cold. I'm not that keen on it. Like, it'd be different if it was only over the road, but I don't know if I said that. I probably did say it in the last live stream. I can't remember. But anyway, how are you all doing now? Are we all looking forward? I think we can say it now. We probably soon have to get the Christmas music on, because would you believe it's nearly like Monday's the 1st of December. We'll be soon putting up a Christmas decorations here behind. You can always see you have a Christmas card. I have 2 Christmas cards over there, so it might be too early, but I do. Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't say I like traveling. I'm not that great, in traveling. Like, you're not seeing me in Budapest or in Barcelona or anything like that. I don't mind traveling. I wouldn't do it every week, if that makes any sense. Once or twice a year is good enough. I don't want to do much more than that. Like, it's all right. I just don't like the airport bit. I'd rather just be plopped down in some place. I don't like the hassles of going through the airport and stuff. And all that. I'd rather just be there, if that makes any sense. Because you nearly need a holiday after the airport. To be totally, after going through the airport and security and all that, you nearly need a holiday. Like, you nearly need to go on another holiday after it. To be totally honest with you. Like when I went there a few weeks ago to Finland and stuff like that, I was only there. I was coming home pretty much. Like, I was only there for 4 days. It wasn't much. It wasn't much. Wasn't. I should have probably stayed there for a bit longer. If that makes any sense. But yeah, no. But apart from that, it all worked out well in the end. It all worked out in the end, and that's all that matters. It all worked out. So, but yeah, no. A lot of people like. I'm not the only one that kind of, when they're traveling, they don't like airports and stuff and going long distances and stuff. There's many people have said it to me. That they just don't like that. They'd rather be just plopped down in a place instead of, if they could just teleport, if that makes sense. What I mean by plop down, just teleport instead of having to go through airports and all that. But teleportation. But no, I think we're a bit too fast for that. But yeah, no, it is quite a distance. Like when you go and it's different if you're going to England or something that's only right beside you. But when you have to go further than that, it's kind of an effort. But it was worth the effort in this case when I went. Um, so I think we all agree. I think we can all agree on that one. That it went very well. Native things. Geez, everybody's gone to sleep, are they? Is it just my thing as banjo? But I have a few Christmas cards there now. We soon put up the decoration, the stuff usually put there at Christmas. We won't do that until the 6th. Usually when the 6th or so you put it up. The 6th of December you put up your Christmas decorations. Like I have some of them down from the loft and stuff, like for the house. My ones are up there. But see, the reason why I don't want to put them up too, because this fucker of Peter could come along. Like he's supposed to come now before Christmas. I know he's heard that before, but I have heard it before too. So if he doesn't come, I'm literally going to lose the plot. Be totally honest with you, because I'm waiting literally over a year at this stage. So it's absolutely ridiculous that it's taking so long to get around to paint one room. So if I ever have to get him to paint the house, it's joking. It's going to take 900 years. Outsuit, jeez, no, we're not be wearing an outsuit. We're not be doing that. There's loads of Christmas parties actually at the moment. Like I was going through Cavan Town. Was it yesterday evening? Yeah, like a lot of people going out for the Christmas parties yesterday. A lot of people dressed up and stuff going out for the work Christmas parties and stuff. But I wouldn't be the type to dress up now. Maybe when I was younger, I'd dress up a bit, not so much now. It's not too bad. It was colder actually a few weeks ago when the frost and stuff. About last week, yeah. But it's not that bad at the moment. Because I was out early on and stuff. Maybe it's colder now than early on. But it's still not bad. For this time of year especially. There should be at least some snow or something. So it's not too bad. Oh yeah, like I have Christmas tops. Sean knows all about this. We have a tradition of smuggling Christmas tops over the border, allegedly, of course. To any guard watching. But yeah, we have loads of Christmas tops. It's just I won't start wearing them to the 6th, so you won't see. So you won't see that to the 6th. There's 3 or 4 of them. I think it's 3 or 4. Yeah. Yes, there's 3 or 4 of them. Yeah. It's frosty. It probably is a frosty. Yeah, no, see, I was out at 3 o'clock, so it's probably got colder since then. I was out for my walk and stuff, so. But it's not too bad. It's still at the same time. It's not cold, if it makes sense. Like it wasn't this Thursday. It was the Thursday before. The Thursday 2 weeks ago, pretty much. I was out that morning for walk and stuff, and it was fucking mighty cold. My poor hands were nearly dead. It was just frosty as fuck. And that Wednesday too was awful. Yeah, the tradition thing, the Christmas tradition around here. But we'll be soon putting on the Christmas tops. I'm just waiting to the 6th. And the only reason too why you don't see much happening here, because I'm waiting for this fucking Pedro. Excuse my language, but if this Pedro doesn't come before Christmas, it's going to be war. Because how many times during the year did I say I was going to do this? A nice fucking challenge. Oh no, we're not doing that. But it used to be quite popular back a few years. If I was on YouTube when that was happening, I would have probably done it. Because a lot of people did it. But not so much nowadays. But no, like if I wanted to, I could have went into the sea in Finland and stuff. Like where I was too, there was a sauna and you could dip into the sea and stuff like that. It was freezing cold. The Baltic Sea is just fucking. You'd dead. Irish person wouldn't do it because you just die. You would instantly just fucking die of just exposure. Like Finnish people, it means nothing to them. They just sit there for the next 7 hours. Like they simply don't care. But the cold means nothing to them. But yeah, for Irish people, not too many Irish people hanging about. going into the Baltic Sea. Oh, the Gulf of Finland, may I say, sorry. Yeah, like I was hoping when I was over in Finland I would get Christmas tops, like Christmas jumpers. I didn't see any, but to be totally honest, I wasn't there that long to see it. To be totally honest, so I didn't get much of a chance to look around. Because pretty much I was only there and had to go home again. And pretty much I had only one mission when I went to Finland to see Santa, and that was it. That was the mission. There was nothing else going to get in the way. Like literally nothing else was going to get in the way. That was the mission. That was just the mission. That was the objective. Literally nothing else got in the way of the objective. That's what's a bit dangerous, that quote, but yeah. The objective has been compromised. But no, I got one knitted, yeah. 50 Irish up, but yeah. Like they're worth the quality. I often got knitted stuff, and they're worth the quality. You might pay a bit extra, but they are worth the quality, good quality. Native Finns. Just to say too, and apologies for not putting out what time was going to be live at this evening. I just kind of didn't know what to put up. Well, what time was going to start at me, I say. Also, the Irish government's under just attack from every side at the moment. Great stuff, mighty. Can you knit? I can't knit, no. Unfortunately not. I never, when, in secondary school, like the secretary, just pause that for a second. In secondary school I'm at now, you have to do home economics, home economics, how to cook and stuff. I think it's from this year, like for the new cycle coming in this year. That in my school, my old secondary school, you have to do home economics, and some of home economics is cooking, etc. I think she can. I'm not sure. I don't actually know. I presume I think she did knit at one stage. I can't remember. I think she did when she was a counsellor. I remember vaguely something about it. When Emma was small, like when our child was small, I remember vaguely something. But I can't remember exactly what it was. It was a good few years ago at that stage. Yeah, that would be 7 years ago, just to say, because Emma's 7 now. So, yeah, that's before 2020. Good God, that's a long time ago. 2018, something like that. I couldn't tell. I have to look into that, but I don't know. I presume she could. But yeah, no, like in home economics now, you have to do you had to do class, you had to learn how to cook, which is everybody would agree that's a good skill to learn. It'll help you the rest of your life. But also there's knitting to add into it. So everybody, even if you're a boy or whatever, and you don't want to do it, you kind of just have to learn, I suppose, in a way. For Santa challenge, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to go there. But back on the music. They can't stop the music. I see the Australian Prime Minister got married. I know such a random thing to say, but I just see he got married there. Sorry, give me a moment. I'm just looking at something. Can you just my oh no, that sounds dangerous. Yeah, so hopefully, the only reason why the review of the book, Sandra Mountain's book, hasn't come out is because I'm waiting for the paper. That's the only reason why. Like, I'm literally waiting for the paper to try and do. That'll be the first video to come out after the thing is painted. So that's why it hasn't been recorded. Like, I've taken a lot of notes. That's probably now. Who knows if we're going to, but I try not to expose what I'm going to say, etc. But yeah, this is the list. Like this is literally what I have so far for the script. So literally, the video will be 2 hours or something. I say like to go through the whole book. Probably going. No, we're not go through everything, every little thing, whatever I think is interesting, or I have something to say about it. But like quite literally, there's probably 50 pages here. Well, maybe that's being generous, but on both sides. So that's just the script. That's just a bit of the script. Like me, I usually say whatever I take. I don't really go by a script. That's just the points, pretty much what to say. Talk about this or talk about that. So it's going to be a long, long video. So it will be an hour or two. Definitely longer than an hour. So either 2 hours or an hour and 30 minutes. That could be absolutely fucking insane. And then the other video that we were supposed to put out during the summer, that has to be recorded soon. The whole idea of that too, like you heard the whole story about that before. It was pretty much done. Like it was an hour and something. It was nearly 2 hours, that video, just explaining why that picture turned up behind me. And it was pretty much done. But the only problem was, and I'll tell you what the big issue was, that I literally started, cutting it down because it was far too long. And I was like, nobody ever watched this like documentary, pretty much. So I started cutting it down, and then over time it didn't make sense half of the stuff I was talking about because I cut so much out, and that's why it had to be abandoned because there was just far too much cut out of it to make sense, in the long story, in the long term. But yeah, interesting. Sean's just like, interesting. But that's the only reason why that video would have been out during the summer. But it would have been just far too. People wouldn't have watched it. But I do ask you, whenever that comes out, the review, please do watch it because it will take. It's going to like if the room is painted in 2 weeks, like hopefully in a week, either next week or the week after, just before Christmas. We're going to absolutely just go fucking haywire in just recording. Like it's just going to be just like I'm probably even going to think about taking off unpaid leave there, just to get it done. Just to get it out of the way, like because I'm determined to want to get it done, but get it done before Christmas. Hello, Shisha. How are you doing? Good evening. How's it going? How's Saturday going for you? Glowing your cheeks. Oh no, I'm always getting. I don't know. But yeah, no, it's going to be. It'd be good review. Let's put that way. Like I've read a bit over and over again, except during the nights. I've always tried to take a bit more. So pretty much I've read the book nearly twice at this stage, and sometimes 3 times. Here to annoy you. That's great. We like that. No, we don't. But But yeah. But it's going to be a long video. So whenever it does come out, I would just ask you the one thing, just to please watch then, if you could, the whole lot of it, because it will be an outrageous amount of work that I have to go into, especially now if it's going to be done the next 2 weeks. Like I have to be out before Christmas, so it's literally just going to be fucking chaos to try and get it out, because it's going to be that long. Like it's going to take so long to record. It take hours, and then even cutting bits out and then just adding in bits or redoing bits. It's going to be absolute madness. Like I'm just going to say, it's going to be the biggest project probably yet that ever was undertaken. It's just absolutely going to be fucking madness. And then the other video, whenever that comes out, that's not coming out before Christmas, but sometime after Christmas we have. If the wall is painted, that's going to come out. That's probably going to be 2 hours. So it's going to drive me, because it's not just the 2 hours of recording. You have to, like as I say, I took notes, etc. And that's over the last few days, and then taking out bits, etc., and then adding bits in, and like it is chaos. Like I just even know for the other video, like it was nearly 2 hours, but it literally took nearly, I think it was nearly 15 hours or something like that. It was insane, something like 12, 15 hours. Just recording it and recording bits and adding bits in, and then taking away bits. Like it was just constantly that was insane. And then it didn't even come out. So JS, you want to know where this person lives? It's never ending, indeed. I agree with you on that one. It's never ending housework. When you come home from work in the evening, there's always something for you to do. Either wash the dishes, wash your clothes too. There's always something, unfortunately. Even setting up the fire and stuff, cleaning out the fire, just always something. In my dreams. So do I. Yeah, like I do have walk-ins of the like I have to come home in the evenings. Like as we speak, my like work clothes are in the wash because obviously I walk outside, etc. So every week my trousers are just destroyed with muck. Um, Moonlight and Mayo. Jordan. Canvas and Cavan. Oh no. Um, um, yeah, so there's a lot going on in general in the country and even in the world. I don't even know where to start, to be totally honest with you. There's too much to be said, to be totally honest at the moment. Um, so first of all, good news: Dublin City Council has finally taken their head out of the house, and decided to call like Christmas, and use the word Christmas lights. Like, wow, what a day! Like, Jesus, go down the history books. But yeah, so the last few weeks they've been using winter lights, and everybody in the country has literally given out to them. And rightly so, because they've literally just used winter lights. That's instead of calling it Christmas, just call it winter season and all that kind of fucking shit. Excuse my language, but that's what it is. But yeah, so finally now they've taken their head out of the house and they decided to call it Christmas, just because everybody literally was onto them. Like literally everybody. Like I've seen literally people that were atheists literally saying to the city council, "This wasn't great, not great." You know. Oh wow, yeah, I know it was such an event. But yeah, no, next year to be at the same crack again because it's every week, every year they're at the same crack. Oh yeah, thank you, Shisha, thank you. Yeah, like I could have said more um, about that, but I just basically said the bare minimum. Like I could talk about topics for 6 or 7 hours, um, but you had to try and just say what you have to say, and there's a lot more to be said about people that are unemployed, etc. There's different situations. I only touched the surface of the main situations, because obviously there's other situations. But yeah, is there anything anybody wants to ask me on just before I start yapping about something else? Because this is the time just when when I'm not talking, like in the middle of having a big discussion about something. Um, isn't there? There's always something. Exactly. Couldn't speak there. I think since I met Santa Mao, and I think I've just gone all together. Not gone all together in that way, but just I think I just I think I just I don't know. It's hard to describe, but I think I just in disbelief in a lot of cases. Like I don't think I'm alive. What I'm trying to say, I think I'm just dead and in heaven. To be totally honest, I know that sounds absolutely ridiculous, but um, but yeah. So where am I now? Sorry, just give me a second. So we all heard about Drew Harris. I have a video up. You're not gone. No, but not in that way. I'm not just completely brain dead. But no, it just feels so unreal. Like it's still I'm haven't get over. I haven't got over it. If that makes any sense, I'm still kind of in just disbelief. That's what I'm trying to say. I can't believe that I'm still. I don't know if I'm alive or dead. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Because it just feels so unreal. The whole situation last month, it feels so unreal. If that makes sense, you get what I'm saying. It's hard to describe, but just that feeling. I just, so I don't know, but it feels so unreal. But it's so good at the moment. At the same time, um, I'm just trying to find what else I was going to say. So yeah, but Drew Harris. we're not going to go that far now. Don't say that. But it was more what would, like, obviously, of course, Santa Marin, etc. But no, it was what we talked about too, and it's very, very. Like, I'd probably do a whole video just on, but when I finally get over the whole lot of it, because that's the only reason why, because I just haven't got over the whole lot of it yet. But no, it was a very nice experience. Not even just the beautiful woman, etc. But no, in general, just the discussion that we had. And some of the stuff said, etc. Very interesting, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's a long story, but very touched. Let's put it that way. So we all know about Drew Harris. So Drew Harris was living rent free in the Phoenix Park at €21,000 a year. So we probably paid, good give or take, about 2 or 3 million for him to live in an apartment or in a house in the Phoenix Park. You would probably paid good enough, 3 or 4 million, give or take, maybe 2 million, maybe, because it was €21,000 a year. So if you add that up and other stuff along with it, and then doing up the house was €400,000 to do up the house from. If you add that up and then add in the 21,000 a year, especially because it's over 7 years or so, you could be looking at you'd be looking at $1 million or $2 million, which is an awful lot of money. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't get free rent, unfortunately. I don't know about you, but I presume the government doesn't pay for your rent either. We have to go out and work for it. And Drew Harris was on a salary of €300,000 a year, and he couldn't take 21,000 out of his salary to pay the rent. He couldn't do it. Too expensive. But make that make sense. But yeah, it's a great country for some. Now the question is, and I said in my video earlier on, just before I went live, how many other people in the government is this happening to? Is every TD is safe to have a wet department? It's Irish taxpayer paying for them, or take for example the chief executive of the HSE or the chief of staff of the defence forces. Are we paying for their wet too? It's a genuine question, because if we're doing it for the Garda Commissioner, are we doing it for anybody else? And it's a genuine question. So what do we think? Are we happy with Drew Harris? You think he deserves the free rent, living rent free, etc.? Because I don't think there's a man alive that would say, yeah, I agree with this. I don't think so. He should pay every penny back, of course. I think everybody would agree on that. He should literally pay every cent back to the Irish taxpayer. Probably be $1 million or $2 million, but sure, look, he can find the money. MI6 will pay for it, or MI5, sorry, whichever, same crowd. British intelligence will pay for it. Our good friends in British intelligence. But I seen a sad report the other day, and this is to do with 2022. Over 500 people died by suicide in 2022 in Ireland. 77% of them being males, like young males particularly, people my age, unfortunately, from 15 to I think it was 35, 40, 45, something like that. Made up 70%, 77% of the suicides. And that's an awful lot of people, just to say 500, just in 1 year in 2022. It's absolutely tragic. And particularly a lot of them were very, very young people. Like some of them were, one of them I think was 10. And, and then there was others just like not even 15, etc. Like, it's awful stuff to have to think about. It's an awful situation, and I feel so sorry for the friends and family. Even just in Cavan, like I remember a few years ago, it was desperate. It was absolutely desperate stuff. But yeah, it's mainly all young people, unfortunately. And it's not even just for older people too. It's terrible that somebody would, feel so low on themselves that they'll do so, like take their own life. It's absolutely tragic to think of. But particularly so young people, that have the whole life ahead of them, and they decide to end it. It's tragedy. It is, like, it's incomprehensible. The suffering that some people go through, and particularly so many young men. Like young men particularly, because young men don't really want to talk about their emotions, etc. What's bothering them. And that's the sad thing, and that's the course, I suppose, in a way. Um, that a lot of young men just don't want to talk about it, that what's annoying them, upsetting them. And that's what's causing it, unfortunately. A lot of these suicides, because people won't like talk to their friends or even their family about it. They don't want to admit they're struggling, if that makes sense. It's a sad thing to say, but it's sadly the truth. Um, but I wouldn't want to see for 2023 too, or 20, even this year. It's probably even more. Unfortunately, it's probably nearly 600 or 700 this year, because it doesn't seem like it's going down, and that's the sad thing to say. But it just keeps going up. It's the same as the homeless numbers, the same as everything. It just keeps going up, and it's tragic to see. Um, but it's something that does need to be talked about, and that's why I wanted to bring it up here, because it is important to mention it. It's important to talk about it, because only by discussing it and talking about these things, we hope that some kind of change happens in some small way, or even just that somebody listening will, talk to somebody if they feel upset or annoyed or anything. Um, it's better than not saying anything, because what happened years ago, people just didn't say anything, and just ignored things and just didn't want to acknowledge it happened, etc. That didn't help anybody. Made more people depressed, to be told and say. Hello, Upwise. How are you doing? Yeah, of course. Yeah, but some people, I went through myself. I went through some very, very tough times when I was in first year in secondary school. It was desperate stuff I went through. And I get it. I understand a lot of particularly young men. I understand it. That's why I'm very open. You always hear me being very open about how I feel, etc. I don't take it as weakness. I know some men have often said it to me. That did take it as weakness when you say, "Oh, I feel bad or don't feel great, and I'm upset about this," because it's okay to be upset, and that's what the woman behind me has said many times, even as politicians and stuff. It's okay to be annoyed. It's okay to have that reaction of being upset and being annoyed and frustrated, etc. But it's better to let it out than let it keep it in. Because you feel a lot better by just getting it out, even just crying, etc. etc. I know people say men shouldn't cry, etc. etc. But it's important to get it out. It's important to get it out, to get your feelings out, to express your feelings. You feel actually a lot better afterward. I know that sounds stupid to say, but it is the truth. Like, you do feel better by just getting it out, by even just getting your emotion out there, even just having somebody to listen to. It's a weight off your shoulder. But it's just so difficult to reach out. And I know myself, it's saying the first few words that I don't feel great or I don't feel okay. And they're the most important words, because everything else works out after that. But it's about getting them first few words out. I don't feel great. I'm not feeling my best. And that's the worst thing. And even for me, when I was younger, etc., I've talked about it many times before. They were the toughest words to have to say, that I wasn't well, and I knew that. I knew that myself. But it's tough to say to other people, and especially as a man, etc., because you're supposed to be tough, etc. But at the same time, too, you have to show you have to be. You can't be just a stone. You have to kind of show emotion, because nobody's made out of stone, and that's the thing. And you do have to have empathy in your heart in some way, shape, or form. Not empathy, even empathy for others, of course, but for yourself too. But you're a good man now, so what's the problem got? A bully's a coward. Yeah, you said it right. Yeah, bully's a coward. But it was many different things. Like, I talked about it many times. If you look up my channel, there's loads of videos. It was a lot of stuff. I suppose I was just always a bit awkward when I was younger, etc. I always didn't fit in. I was dyslexic. I said about many times. I don't know if you ever have been here before, but I said about many times. Like, when I was in national school, I never fitted in, because I was dyslexic. I was pretty much, everybody else didn't have problems, learning problems, etc. I was held back a year in school, etc. Had trouble making friends, and just being dyslexic too, you felt very different. You felt isolated, and I suppose many other things. But apologies. Let me just take this. Give me 2 seconds. Sorry about that. Let me just say I have two things here I have to do with. Um, discontent. He's responding mad. Sorry, no, just give me a second. Go back to that just in a second. Uh, if you there's also a reply to one of my videos, so I had to respond to that too. The joys of being a YouTuber, but no, it was a lot of stuff. I suppose it wasn't just bullying and stuff like that. Obviously, people knew you were different. What I mean by different is dyslexia. You're different from everybody else, and obviously too, dyslexia is not just even about reading and learning, etc. It's other things too, and it can affect you in other ways too. Um, but it was a lot of stuff. I suppose it was just everything got to me. And I will say, and I just said earlier on, it was about not letting it out. I wouldn't say it to anybody. I was always very socially, no, well, not socially awkward, but I wouldn't say it to anybody that wasn't great, if that makes any sense. And that's what happened over time. Things built it up, and eventually was going to blow up, and it did blow up, unfortunately. Uh, a lot of political groups. So this, yeah, just to say, this is how I have to respond to people. Like I have to speak into my phone because I can't spell. Just to say, like it is embarrassing to say, but it is the truth. That's why you see my community posts are just awful because I have to speak into the phone, and it's embarrassing to have to say, but it's the truth. Um, but you know, discontent. Yeah, sorry. I'm back again, though. Um, no, I was just responding to somebody in one of the comments. I didn't want them to think there was no in the mind. But yeah, no, I'm back. Sorry about that, everyone. See, the joys of being a YouTuber. But no, like as I was just saying there too earlier on, like a bully is a coward. In a lot of cases, uh, like a bully's just trying to how would you put it? Turn this music off. Like a bully's trying to like has problems of his own, and he's trying to make himself feel better in a way. That's the way I see it. Um, or he's trying to feel powerful in a lot of cases. Um, but yeah, but there was many different things. Like I've made whole videos talking about it. I do recommend you watch it because it goes into a lot more detail and things. I've talked about it many times. But it basically was everything got on top of it because it was over the years and let it build up, and it just never spoke about it. And eventually it was going to blow up in my face, and it did. You know, thankfully it did because it was very. And I know that sounds weird to say thankfully, but thankfully it did because I wouldn't be here today if it didn't. There was a lot of stuff, as I say. So it's a long story, but it all worked out in the end. But it was a tough going. I will admit that. But you become a better. I think after going through all of that, you become a better person and you understand a bit more about the world. I know but you have to. What I'm trying to say, try and take positives out of something that was very bad situation, a very negative situation. You try and find positivity out of it. Try and find some way of learning to make yourself a better person. I do think I've learned a good bit from that experience. And I do think it's made me a better person in return. And it's made me more understanding of people suffering and stuff. And I think that's good. It's a good thing to learn that. You have to learn the hard way. That's the thing, but you learn the life lesson, I suppose, in a lot of cases. Uh, if that makes sense, I might be just talking to whittles, but yeah, it's a hard thing to talk about, but it's something that needs to be talked about because it is tough for young men, particularly, to speak about it and stuff. Not so much for women. Women can talk a bit better about their feelings, etc. Not so much for men, like particularly young men. Like the majority of them were my age, in their teens too, 34, 35, because they think it's weak and stuff like that. And I suppose when you were younger too, you were told never to express your feelings, etc. But it achieved nothing years ago. Like that's what was said: never talk about your feelings and never discuss about things. But it didn't help anybody. It helped no one. People kept it in, and people lived in misery because of them, like of things that happened. They never talked about it. I've seen many families and stuff lost, like parents lost their sons and daughters and just never talked about it. Just never acknowledged that the thing even happened. They just left it in. They never talked, and it went to the grave, being miserable, and not talking about it, not being open about their feelings and how they feel. And it was miserable, like for a lot of people, even when I was younger, thinking back on it, like they lived in misery, like thinking about it. Who, which, what? Sorry. No, I'm just saying people in general, like from my community and stuff that I knew back in the day, like back when I was growing up and stuff. I didn't understand, I suppose, back then. But looking back, and I understand in a lot of cases what they were going through. They just never wanted to talk about, what happened if they lost their child or something like that or anything at all. And they just never wanted to talk about it. But like when I used to live in another parish and stuff, even just in general, just about me, when I was younger, but looking back on it, like looking now and understanding what happened, I understand. But it wasn't as bad. Well, technically, when I was growing up too, it wasn't as bad. But there was still a lot of old people like that. They just never talked about anything. They just never wanted to talk about anything. That happened to them in the past. Like there was some of others, but yeah, too, but not as many. But there was in general just around the place. I hope that kind of helps somebody. I know it might be a whittle. Excuse me, sorry, apologies, open. But no, the whole end of the story is make sure to talk to somebody. Do talk to somebody about your feelings. Or if something's not you don't feel great, or if something's annoying you, do talk about it. Don't let it conquer you. And I suppose what the woman behind me has said, particularly because it's all to do with fear, and that's the thing. It's all about having to fear talking to somebody and fear, saying what you think and what your feelings are. And that's what this is fear. Like it boils down to it, it's fear. And the thing that Sandra Mowen said, even when I was over in Finland that time, just a few weeks ago, don't let fear conquer you. And I do think that's important. And I do think that's something I've learned too from that you shouldn't let fear conquer you. And that's the thing of speaking out or saying anything that you think or expressing your feelings, even just to say. You shouldn't let fear override you, conquer you, control you. And she's right in that. And whatever but you have to say about her being a politician, but she is right. Because it was fear that conquered me when I was younger. It was fear that conquered me. And it's a weird thing to have to say, but it was fear. It was the fear of just talking about it and saying, I don't feel great and I don't feel great about this. But it was fear, and that's what it was. Looking back into this, it was fear just having to say, and it's the words, getting the words out of your mouth that, I don't feel great, I don't feel okay. I don't feel 100%, whatever way you want to put it. But it was fear, and that's what it boils down to, that you're feared of having to say to somebody, I'm not feeling great or I'm not okay. And particularly for a man, that's what it is. It's the fear of just being called a sissy or being called anything. I know that's not a great word to say, but that's just the thing. That's what a lot of young men take it, to be afraid of God being sissy or being a coward or being an idiot or whatever. That's the thing. It's the fear of being called words. But words don't matter. It's what's inside that matters. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. As long as you feel good, whatever makes you feel good, that's the most important. As long as you get it out, whatever's annoying you, that's what's the most important thing. It doesn't matter what people call you. And I think that even when I was younger too, I never could imagine that I'd be here saying what I think about different things, etc. Because I was very nervous as a young person. I was very, very nervous. I didn't socialize that much. But if you would have told me when I was 10 or anything like that. Like, it was really, really bad and stuff. Like, if you would have told me I was 10, I would go and meet the former Prime Minister of Finland. I would have told you were mad. I would have generally told you were mad, but I was able to do it. And I couldn't have done it. Like, to be totally honest, I could not have done it when I was 10 years old. Even 15, I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have went over to meet Santa Mountain. I simply couldn't have done it. Wouldn't have the confidence. I wouldn't have the will to do it. I wouldn't have the energy or whatever you want to call it. But I did it, and I'm very proud of myself. But I hate to admit, but you do have to say it to yourself. And the most important thing I had when I was younger too, I hate having to say I did well. I never would give myself praise, but I do think it's important. And even when Santa Mountain's book, some people are saying that she's overpraising herself. But this is the thing: you do have to overpraise yourself when you conquer mountains, when you conquer steps that you thought they were unconquerable, that you couldn't achieve, that the mountains were too high for you to climb. When you get there, you should pat yourself in the back a bit. I know self-praise is no praise, but you should take pride in accomplishing your goals or accomplishing something. And deep enough, and I hate to admit, and I wouldn't admit it when I was younger, but I'm very proud that I met Santa Mountain. I'm very proud of myself that I was able to discuss for a good few minutes, talk to her for a good few minutes. I'm very proud of that because I couldn't have done it. And I know rightly in myself that I couldn't have done it when I was younger. I couldn't have done it even a few years ago. So I'm very proud of that. Yeah. Yeah, like there's many situations like that. I record that, and especially with social media nowadays, it's a tougher world. I don't think our generation understands the impact it does have on young people, particularly. There's good sides of it, of course. Don't get me wrong, but there's bad sides of it too. And I think we still don't understand the whole aspects of that and the effects on people's health and people's well-being. But yeah, that's why I always say, like, you never really would see me shout at somebody on stream and stuff like that, because I don't want to be, annoying anybody. And I would say what I think about different situations, of course, but I'm a lot more understanding with people, even people who come in and here and disagree me entirely. I still hear them out because it's important to let people speak, etc. But yeah, but there's people out there that just always want to put people down, etc. And that's the thing. But yeah, I hope that helped in some way. But the thing I would say too, just to do with that, you should always give yourself credit when you do something that you never thought you could do. And it was always something I never, even if you ask people from where I live in Butters Bridge, etc., I never would have took, unfortunately, but you can always, that's what I'm saying, you can always learn. Life is all about learning, um, you know, but you know, you can always make life better. That's what I'm saying. Even for people too, you can make life better for people. Um, Small things make a huge impact, and that's the thing. And that's the last thing I say too about it. Santa Mountain spent 6 or 7 minutes talking to me personally, and then I was talking to her with a few other people that time. Like with 6 or 7 minutes, like at the end of the day, that it's only 6 or 7 minutes. But it meant a lot to me, and I appreciate Santa Mountain for doing that. She didn't have to. She had a million other things she could have done. There's more important people than me there, but she chose to do it. That's my respect. And it's the small things like that. It's just a very small thing. It's not major thing. It's not like she was going to give me a medal or something like that. But it's the small things that matter. And I do think Santa Mountain was a good person to understand that. Like, it's the small things, man. As you could see, there was very touched by it. That she, give me the time of day to speak to me and stuff. Even though she would probably know, we have different sides of the political aisle. Not entirely agree with a lot of stuff Santa Mountain says. In a lot of regards, and she's right in a lot of stuff she says. But maybe on a few things we could disagree, but we respect each other, and I think that's the main thing. Yeah, well, pretty much, yeah. But yeah, so I hope I helped in some way, encouraged somebody. But the main thing is not to be afraid, and that's the main thing I say to you. The woman behind me is the best person to tell you, like, not to be afraid. Don't be afraid of anything. And that's coming from someone that was a few years ago, would have been afraid. Like, I was afraid when I first started YouTube, showing my face, etc., because I did have acne and stuff back a while ago. Not so bad now compared to what it was. And that was to do with annoyance too, the acne and stuff, because I was very annoyed and stuff. Like, you see when I was younger, etc. you can understand why, because I was just as upset about different things. Even I had different color, like my face was more whiter, etc. Nowadays I have a bit more color. Like it was just pure annoyance, and annoyance can kill you. It really can. It can drain your energy, can drain you just to the core. Um, but yeah, nowadays I don't let much stop. Um, so yeah, still listening. But that's great, because everybody else just said fuck it. He's reminiscing about the old days. The old man shouting at the clouds, as they said. But yeah, no, as long as people understand that. The old man shouting at the clouds. But yeah, is there anything else? Anything else? But yeah, no. But in all seriousness, I'm happy to admit it, I suppose, that I'm proud of myself for being able to beat Santa. And even though I bust into tears afterward, but I'm proud that I did meet her and stuff. I'm proud that I conquered that because when I was young, I couldn't have done it. I said, to be totally straightforward, I couldn't have done it. Even a few years ago, I couldn't have done it. So I did well, as we told him. Um, oh, I know there's plenty of hassle. That's life. But I conquered a lot of mountains already. Let's put it that way. But you should always look at the mountains that you conquered and not worry about the mountains that needs to be conquered. Take inspiration from the mountains that you did conquer, and times that were tough in life, and that you got through it and stuff, and you get through the next mountain. That's the way I see it. Like I'm not worried with the mountains that I need to conquer. You know, do you get what I'm saying? Not worried about that yet. But yeah, no. But I think I've conquered just speaking myself. I know being self-centered for a second, but I think I've done well. And I said, somebody asked me when I was live in Finland, on my live stream in Finland, about would my children, like if I had children in the morning, would they be proud of me? I can't remember the exact phrase the person used. Would they be proud? And I can't remember exactly how you phrased it, but something like that. But I do think I've done well to get through all that tough stuff because not many young people did. Unfortunately, that's just the sad thing to say that so many teenagers let give up and not really give up, but let it conquer them. And unfortunately, they did conquer them. Fear and anxiety and unfortunately, a lot of them are not with us today. That's the sad thing to remember. But um, of course, yeah, and that's the thing to remember. Be thankful for what you have. Be grateful for what you have. Grateful for the good moments too. There's always bad moments, but do let the good moments shine. Whenever things bad happen, like take for example, regardless of what probably happens to me now for a long time to come, I'm still going to be very proud of meeting Senna Mawan. I don't think anything really can take me down from that, Vitolanza. I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of meeting and stuff. Uh, I don't even know what the word is. I'm very thankful, I suppose, in a way to meet her. And whatever bad happens, like I'm going to be going to think about that because it's important to think of the good times and look forward to tomorrow. Whatever you go through, there's always more good times to be had, and that's the thing. It just takes time, and that's the thing. Time is a great healer for things. Um, but anything else? Smile in the world smiles back. Well, I would hope so, but in theory, it might not work in some places. But of course, try and smile because it's important to smile too. It lets out good hormones. There's hormones in your face and stuff, and it's good. It's good for you. Makes you feel a bit better. But yeah, anything else? I know we talked a lot about just mental health and stuff. But it's good to talk about, as I say, because it's not talked about enough, and it is very important. So it's good that we do talk about these things and do have a discussion about it, because it's not discussed enough, and that's just the thing. So it's good that we could people can have an open discussion about it, and a reasonable discussion too. That nobody's saying shut up, be quiet. Even just the people too that say their opinions and stuff. It's good because you see it in other YouTube chats, etc., where people are like, "Oh, just shut up, I don't care." But it's important to discuss about these things. But yeah, is there anything else? Just to say, any other questions? Just trying to think, what else was I going to chat about? We talked about Drew House. What else? Sorry, give me a moment. What is this? The Israeli government. I'm not happy. So yeah, I'm sure people have seen the video. Just this, not to do it on, but just the video of 2 Palestinian people being executed by the Israeli Defense Forces. Now these people seem to be unarmed. I don't know if people have seen the video, but they seem to be unarmed. And they were coming out and they were shot, even though they had their hands up, they surrendered. They were shot by the Israeli Defense Forces. Now, obviously, a war crime. There's no other way of describing. That's what it is. That's what happened. Crimes against humanity, etc. Shooting a person that is surrendered, etc. But yeah, so basically, not a peep from the media, pretty much. You think, there would be absolutely just trouble over, because there should be. They literally killed a person that was surrendering. But yeah, the United States is backing them to the hilt, of course. Also, there's a win actually for Ireland and for the Irish flag, etc. Dublin City Council has backed down, basically saying that they're not going to take down the Irish flags. They made a big discussion about this. They had a fucking yearly discussion about this, about what they're going to do with the Irish tricolour, because it's far-right extremism. Having an Irish flag up in Ireland. Imagine that. Oh my God, having an Irish flag up in Ireland. Wow. What a disgrace, Allegedly. What some of these councillors think. They think it's absolute disgrace that, that the Irish flags are flying in Ireland. I know such a thing to say, but yeah. So yeah, they had a big discussion about it and they decided, and I think it's the best for everyone, that they're not going to bother to take down the Irish flags, because let's be fair, it would be counterproductive because as soon as they take them down, they go back up again the next day. So it's pretty much a losing battle for Dublin City Council. So Dublin City Council just basically said, "Fuck it, we're going to give up." So that's something. But yeah, so Dublin City Council basically they had a big discussion about it for the last while, along with Garda Síochána. And basically now decided not to do anything. So I'm just reading up and stuff. But yeah, no, I think we just chat among ourselves. How does that sound? We just chat among ourselves for a while. How does that? And then we call it quits because I think we've talked about a good bit of stuff. I suppose it was more the mental health stuff. But is that okay? We have it just to chat among ourselves. Is that good enough with everybody? Because we could talk about other stuff, but I think we just chill out. How does that sound? Because it's important to chill out too, like just to sit down and just have a discussion about many different things, And I think that's the good thing about this stream compared to other streams. And so I know gloating a bit, but that a lot of other streams are focused on one thing and they don't really deluge from the topic. And of course, that's important for things, but so yeah. Oh, stretch. But yeah, but it's important. The other thing about that, just the mental health thing, it's important to be humble. It's important to be humble, and not to be gloat too much too, of course. But it's important to be humble and be thankful. Yeah, that's what I would say. That's what I would add to the mental health thing. What I was saying about. There's a lot to be discussed. You could talk for hours and hours and hours about it. Yes. But yeah, so is there anything else anybody want to say, or any other things you want me to talk about? Just to say, just do with X for them for a second. X is yeah, the new law, the new thing on X that you can see where the accounts are from. It's weird looking at some accounts that claim to be Irish and claim to be this and claim to be that. It's absolutely insane. When you really think about it. Because just looking on the account there, they claim to be from Ireland, but they're based in Sillelly, you own. The fucking cat said, Sillelly you own. Some country somewhere else, right? Fair enough. Like not in Ireland. So in Africa, sorry, yeah, say you own Africa. But it's absolutely mad. But a lot of these people are just doing it for money and for clout. Um, and in some cases too, it's like foreign interference. A lot of cases too, because there's some Russian accounts and stuff like here, like posting Russian propaganda, like making up stuff pretty much in a lot of cases. And they're based in Ireland, etc. And it's kind of supporting a bit. Um, if that makes any sense, I might not be talking logic, but because there's some stuff like even just take for example Americans. Like there's a lot of American accounts, particularly they're pro Donald Trump, and they're based in India and etc. Like they're not even American citizens, and they're trying to influence what American citizens are thinking. And not to mention Homeland Securities in Israel. You know, Homeland Security. But yeah, it's quite something when you really think about it too. Like a lot of stuff nowadays, just like years ago, things made sense when things happened, etc. Nowadays, things are just anything goes pretty much. There's no rules. Like particularly the internet is the Wild West pretty much. Like back before the early 1900s, when in the United States and stuff, in the Western United States, etc. In the Wild West, there was no law, there was no institutions, a lot of law enforcement, etc. Like where Red Dead Redemption was established, take for example, Red Dead Redemption 2, them years 1899, so just going into the 19th century. William McKinsey was the president, etc. back then, but of the United States. Calvin Tigger was the federal reform. But I'm just saying, like the internet nowadays is pretty much the Wild West too in a lot of cases. Yeah, but I don't know if he's still here, Sean. He might be gone. You might have had enough of me for today. But yeah, like the internet alone too. Like there's some weirdly fucked up stuff on social media, etc. And of course, people are entitled to those opinion, their freedom of speech. But sometimes people do push the limits up and feels, because you see just the most weirdest stuff sometimes. Hello, Tony. Good evening. You're only joining us now. Oh, you've been here all the time, have you? William? No, what is it? No, not Mackenzie King. Teddy Roosevelt. Yeah. No, if you confuse me now, Tony. But I would take for example just in Twitter just to prove my point. This is a man from Afghanistan. This person claims to be a woman. What is a woman? But yeah, this couch is literally, they say they're from the United States, but they're from Pakistan, and he claims to be a woman, but he's a man. Does that make any sense? I suppose in a way. That's only a small thing. Only now, Jesus. An hour and 8 minutes late. Just an hour and 8 minutes. An hour and 8 minutes late for work. What I'm trying to say. Boom, boom. No, we're not tonight. We're not playing any games tonight. We might be doing a game soon. Within the next few weeks, we could be. See, the thing about games, you need time to play the games. Like we're only live pretty much 2 times a week. Like if we were live 3 or 4 times a week, we could be able to like play through a game in a week, pretty much. Only joking, of course. Oh yeah, no, of course, Tony. Don't think I'm taking you serious. I don't mean to say that way, but I know you're joking. So yeah, I'm sure people have heard about Adolf Hitler. I know that's something way to say it, but yeah, he's won the local elections in Nambia, in Africa. Like such a name to call yourself, for a political job. I don't know about that. And apparently his father didn't know who Adolf Hitler was, which is absolutely insane. But yeah, it is funny to see the headlines just out of Hitler won an election. I know it might be in a show of me, but that's just what I'm seeing on Twitter for the last few days. No, I don't think the night is young. No, we won't be. We won't be doing it. The office of the president of Israel. No. Yeah, like my family's Christmas cards. Not so much people sending me Christmas cards. Not yet. Some of my neighbours probably will soon. Still a bit too early. It's not even the 1st of December. So yeah. But yeah, is there anything blah 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 blah? Is there anything else anybody wants to say or anything you want to discuss? Because if not, we probably will leave it there for tonight. Current affairs of politics. Jesus Christ, Tony, you know nothing. You know nothing. Surely you must see some stuff like surely. Like surely you must see some grand music. Oh, it's grand indeed, grand. Everything is grand. Every time somebody uses the word grand, I always think of that time the Latvian Prime Minister was like, if we could do this, it'd be grand. Like, he went pure Irish for a second. Like the Latvian Prime Minister was like, if we could get this achieved, it could be grand. Like he was just like that. Offery news. So that's your local news, yeah. But it's important to know too what's going on because, to know what's going on, especially where your money's going, etc., your taxpayer money, etc. It's important to try and keep them. I know life is busy when you have children, especially. It's difficult. It's not easy, especially even when you're working, etc. It's difficult. Like to know everything that's going on, of course. It's very hard. But I think we just chill out for another while too. I'm not in any hurry. It'd be different if it's going somewhere. But I think we're not bothered talking about much. Like, not bothered going into big discussions about things. We're just kind of chill. Because I think it's just important sometimes to just let people, chill and talk among themselves about different things. Instead of just, focusing on one thing. Yeah. I was always doing that anyways. There's always news about that. Cold night. Yeah, Sean was saying that earlier on it was cold. I wasn't out till 3 o'clock. But it wasn't cold. It wasn't that cold like during the day. Maybe now it's a frost, probably. It could be. The Game Awards will be soon coming out too, so we'll see who wins that. Yeah, this would be the time of year people would get the flu. It wouldn't surprise me because this time particularly they would get the flu, and it was cold the last few weeks. Like it was cold the last few weeks. I wouldn't be surprised. Like it's just with the flu. Like people get all like I'm surprised I haven't got the flu yet. But it can happen with the flu. There's probably a bug kind of too going around too. Because especially in national and secondary schools, children can get bugs like viruses, I suppose. Um, like their immune system is not as strong as adults, if that makes any sense. Um, I don't know if you get me, but it can happen, especially in such a quest like a compact space, like a school or a college and stuff. The flu spreads like hell. Um, if you get me, and then touching, especially touching pens, tables, etc., bacteria, etc. Oh, I don't know about the fire. It could be the fire. It could be the food. You could be right. I wouldn't trust how some of the food, but it's insane that the children are only getting free food now, like in schools. They were doing it in Finland since 1952, and Ireland's only doing it now. And you think they hear the politicians, you think they were reinventing the wheel, the way they're going on. Yeah, it's the food that I don't trust. I don't know about the Irish food, like in the schools and stuff. I don't know about the 5G stuff, but definitely this food in the school. I don't know what I do. It's nearly out of date popping in a lot of cases. But of course, it's good that because some children come from very deprived backgrounds where they wouldn't, the parents wouldn't have the money for food. It's not that they wouldn't give them the food; they just wouldn't have the money because food has gone up. Like food has gone up a lot more now. Like within the last 2 weeks, it's gone up something fields. Like coming to Christmas, a lot of food has gone up. I don't know if you noticed that it's gone up a good bit. Particularly meat and stuff has gone up huge. I wouldn't say communism. I think it's just greed. Like communism is supposed to be the workers and stuff and all that shit. But it's just greed. People just being greedy and supermarkets and stuff being greedy and pocketing the money for themselves. It's not really communism because communism is supposed to be that the state provides everything and stuff and the collective good, etc. I suppose there's other ways of looking at it through communism, but in general, that's the definition. Yeah, I don't know what the food they get, so I can't really comment on it. But at some point, I will look into it. Because I never looked because when I was at school, it didn't exist. You got food, which you had to pay for. Like nowadays, it's free school meals, which is good, of course. Yeah, but there's always, even if you're in the rich suburb of Dublin, there's always somebody that's poor and stuff. There's always somebody that doesn't have enough. Like I can think of a few kids that went to my secondary school and stuff. Like the parents were poor, they want social welfare and stuff. And some of them, the parents were in prison, etc. There wasn't enough money. They were living off the state pretty much. And it's not the children's fault because they're children, but some of them came to school like in very bad ways and stuff, like not great clothes, etc., etc. No materials, like no books or nothing. They just didn't have the money for it, and you do feel for them kids too, because they do feel left out, I suppose, in a way too. Yeah, like not even in towns, in the countryside too. If you have 3 or 4, like things not as easy as they used to be, Tony. Like when I was younger and stuff, people could have big families. Nowadays, there's maybe 2 or 3 children. That's it in a family. Like years ago, people could have fucking 30 people in the family. Like nowadays, you can't do that. Things are just too expensive. How was my week? It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad at all. Not at all. How was your weekend at all? There was not really much happened this week, like, like nothing wild happened. If it makes any sense compared to the last few weeks. Ooh. Everybody else has just had enough of me today. I just left. How's the woman? Not the woman. um. I was a woman. But what is a woman, Tony? And two handshakes, we got to say. That you're incorrect. You're spreading misinformation there, Tony. Oh my god. So do you know the way to have a live camera and tap a bar? Like, in fairness, you can't really say the Irish tourism industry is dead. Like, look at that. That's Tepa Bow at the moment. That's live pictures in Tepa Bow. Like, there's a lot of people. Like, that's a lot of people in Tepa Bow. In fairness. Like, that's live in Tepa Bow. Probably the majority of them are Americans and stuff, but like, they're just probably getting fleeced. That's what's happening. But look at them Christmas lights, dude. Look at that. And look at the amount of Christmas lights there. Like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, a lot of people are getting fleeced. Like I say, a lot of people are getting fleeced because of it. Because a pint is like €10 up, and that's absolutely mad. Oh, even worse, I think it's nearly 50 or something. So in some cases, like, you'd be mad to like go out for drinks and stuff, spending that much money. Lucky I don't drink. If I didn't drink, I wouldn't be able to go anywhere. Like, true story. If I was drinking, like, say if I was drinking and stuff, I was smoking or vaping or something, I wouldn't be able to go to Finland like 2-3 weeks ago because I wouldn't have had the money to go. So I'm very lucky to be in that position. Only for that, I wouldn't been able to go. To be totally honest with you. What's the final? Isn't that? It's still not the final. I couldn't tell you. That's how much I don't pay attention to GA and stuff. What's the champions? Oh, Club Hogan, no. I wouldn't have known that. The more you know, Tony. But yeah, we're not stay too much longer. We'll just chill for another few minutes. But yeah, so I'm just trying to take a stand with the house necessary. But yeah, it's a bad time too, coming up to Christmas being live too. Like, I've seen a lot of other YouTubers and stuff, like bigger than me, far bigger than me, like even complaining about live streaming, and even for the videos, etc. There's a lot less people watch coming up to Christmas because people are going out shopping, getting Christmas presents, doing things before Christmas, getting stuff ready, Christmas decorations. And I've seen a few, like the big, like somebody who had 2 million subscribers was complaining on Twitch that they didn't get, like, they're not getting enough views because people are too busy putting up their decorations, having a personal life. And you're just like, what? You're like, you're making good money all year, like, and you're still making money from subscriptions and stuff, and you're giving out to people who are having their own life, like, like, it's insane sometimes, but it's just greed. It's the same with many YouTubers and stuff. They just want more and more and more subscribers, more this, more that. It's not a good thing. It's always the good to be thankful. And that's why you never see me really just, always saying, oh, look at it. This, that, But yeah, is there anything, because I say we're just probably going to go now. I think we've pretty much talked a good bit about different things, about mental health particularly earlier on. So yeah, is there anything else just before we go? We probably will be back Wednesday. Yeah, we should be back Wednesday. I can't think of anything that's coming up Wednesday. Now, there could be... No, that's Tuesday, actually. No, in 2 weeks' time, I have something on a Tuesday. I have meetings and stuff on Tuesday. Not this Tuesday coming, but we won't be live. We shouldn't be live that day. Yeah, we shouldn't be live. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it for tonight. There is a video up. There's two videos actually up for today. About the Garda Commissioner and about unemployment at the moment in this country. So if you haven't had a look at them, please do have a look at them if you can. If you wish to, of course. Self promote. But yeah, that's it for tonight. So yeah, thank you, everyone. We'll be back Wednesday, hopefully, please God. Um, as I said, those videos up. So if you want to have a look at them, you can. So yeah, but thank you, Evan. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, and I'll chat to you soon. Thank you.